Well, through this pandemic, have you ever felt like bumping into one of the premiers of one of the states and giving them a piece of your mind? Now, I'm lucky I can kind of do it from right here. But I watched WA Premier Mark McGowan today reluctantly announce the opening of his border to New South Wales and Victorian residents from tomorrow. Now, in the spirit of Christmas, families would have watched that, heard about that and thought, fabulous news. But you should have seen the way he delivered it. He spoke for 6 minutes at the start of the press conference about how cautious he needs to be and how cautious and right he's been with his hard borders, and then delivered the verdict begrudgingly, it looked, almost looking like some kind of political version of Ebenezer Scrooge.
But like I've said before, I will not hesitate in bringing back the hard border if that is what is required.
Yes, and I can bring down the hard borders once again. He was almost grimacing. McGowan has been frightening West Australians all year so that he looks like some kind of lifesaver every time he turns his back on those in the east, as he calls us, those disease-ridden East Coasters. And he learned this, of course, from the Queensland Premier, who made an art form out of it and won an election because of it. Meanwhile, the Victorian Premier, here's another state leader who wants to leave the broken economy to someone else, to the feds, to ScoMo. You know, it's not really important to save jobs or small businesses. And that, to me, became obvious yesterday. I say that not only because he locked down the joint for 111 days, but because yesterday Daniel Andrews brought down the most overly cautious and destructive set of restrictions we've seen, especially for a state that yesterday hadn't had a new infection for more than 37 days. At a time when the government needs to do all it can to rebuild its smashed and fragile economy, why would you keep people at home longer, months longer? He won't allow private workplaces to bring back more than 50% of their workforce until January 11.
Private sector offices at the moment are at 25%. They'll be able to take that jump to 50% on Monday, the 11th of January.
Hang on. January 11 is next year. They've had 38 days now without a new infection. What about saving the economy? What about rescuing the heartbroken 200,000 Victorians who've lost their jobs, thousands of businesses who've lost their livelihoods? And there'll be more to come, no doubt. The state's just lost their AAA credit rating today too. It has the highest debt in its long history. Surely it only takes a few days to separate workstations in offices or create a bit of space in factories. We don't need a 2-month head start. From the Herald Sun comments pages today, Rita Dean wrote, "Less than a 1 in a quarter of a billion chance of contracting the virus necessitates an ongoing state of emergency and restrictions. Pull the other one, it plays jingle bells." But it's worse than that. Only 25% of Victorian public servants in each work unit can return on January the 11th. 50% come back on February the 8th. Again, so much for, we're all in this together. Why does it take public servants an additional month for half its staff to get back to work? Are they disabled in some way that we don't know of? Is it an admission that they don't like working? Or do their empty buildings have more COVID in them than private venues? What lazy rubbish that is. In effect, the Victorian Public Service, bar health and emergency services workers, will end up having a year off. Like the Premier's taken the mickey, not getting people back to work pronto. From the comments pages, again, reader Jeff wrote, "Why do public servants have longer to work from home? Are they a protected species? While everyone else is losing their jobs, getting reduced hours, losing support benefits, the public servants are getting pay rises. Why?" And you listen to the Prime Minister today, at the other end of the scale, talking about their industrial relations changes and stressing with his hand thumping the desk how crucial it is to ensure Australians are working.
The job is created by a business. 8 out of 10 of the jobs in this country are in private businesses. They don't exist unless those private businesses, Mr Speaker, those mums and their dads businesses are out there employing someone. Those businesses care deeply about the jobs of Australians, and what we're doing through these changes is equipping those businesses to employ more Australians, put more of them back at work, to make more of them better off, Mr Speaker, by ensuring that they have the confidence to go and do so in a recovering economy.
It's just got me beat. January 11, 50% of the private workforce and 25% of public servants. That's the priority, exactly what Scott Morrison had to say today in Question Time. We need to get the country working again, or our children and our grandchildren will live in a much more inferior Australia. Sadly, the state premiers have held all the power this year. That's what we've learnt. And they've acted in a parochial and selfish fashion, bar the New South Wales Premier. Those who haven't been hurt by all of these decisions won't understand what I'm saying. But those who have will not be able to forget what they've lost.